This is Valley News Live at 5.
Breaking news on this Tuesday afternoon. Now, we just received the complaint file of Jerry Boyer, who is the former assistant police chief in West Fargo. He was placed on administrative leave last month while an internal investigation was underway, and he stepped down from the role last Friday. Now, the document is lengthy, but what we know so far is that Boyer violated policy, including unprofessional behavior, such as raising his voice, ridiculing, belittling, or gossiping about an employee or insubordination. That document is around 270 pages long. We have a reporter digging into the file right now, and we'll have more for you on Valley News Live at 6. Also this afternoon, another report of increased COVID-19 hospitalizations at Sanford. Sanford is reporting that of the 521 hospitalizations in Fargo alone, 50 are active COVID-19 cases. Of those 50, 3 were hospitalized for something other than COVID and then tested positive. Across all Sanford hospitals, 32 active COVID cases are on the ventilator system. 31 of them are unvaccinated. Sanford Vice President Doug Griffin says the ongoing increase in COVID-19 cases is very serious for hospitals.
We don't expect it to resolve soon, and it could have serious implications for people seeking care for any number of reasons across the state, in this community, and many communities across the region.
Dr. Griffin says 3 people died yesterday from COVID-19 in Sanford's Fargo Hospital. For those of you who just can't shake those difficult symptoms associated with COVID-19, help may be here. A local doctor says he may have the answer that long haulers have been looking for. As Valley News Team's J.C. Dodd found out, it's a treatment widely used on scuba divers for decompression sickness.
I have yet to see somebody that says it hasn't improved their symptoms for COVID.
Hyperbaric oxygen therapy is a treatment used to speed up healing for a number of FDA-approved indications. But Dr. Alan Luistro says the treatment could help COVID-19 long haulers. The patient is placed in a chamber and exposed to 100% oxygen with an increased pressure for an hour.
The high levels of oxygen will decrease or shut off the body's inflammatory response, which allows for tissues to heal.
He says by a COVID long hauler undergoing hyperbaric oxygen therapy, their inflammation will decrease and the patient could see an improvement of their long-lasting COVID-19 symptoms.
Ongoing fatigue, the brain fog, concentration issues, the loss of sense of taste and smell, shortness of breath. Those are probably the primary ones that patients have come in for.
However, COVID-19 is not an FDA-approved indication for the treatment, so it wouldn't be covered by insurance. The patient would have to pay $250 out of pocket per treatment. On average, he says his COVID-19 long hauler patients undergo 10 of them.
COVID, I think it's reasonable to try and see, is it of benefit?
In Fargo, J.C. Dodd, Valley News Live.
And the doctor says he hopes more internationally accepted indications like traumatic brain injury and concussions get approved by the FDA so more people can access the benefits of hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Well, enjoy our weather while you can. I'm hearing there are some changes coming. Let's begin our coverage with details on tonight's conditions, and Hutch is here with that. Hutch?
Mike, thanks so much. Good evening, everyone. Temperatures once again way above average for this time of the year, but the wind causing our camera there at the Luther Family Ford location to shimmy just a little bit. We have had gusts over 30 miles per hour, and right now we remain cloud-free in almost the entire area. As temperatures are in the mid-70s in Bemidji and Baudette, we have 80s and mid-80s at that up in the Northern Valley right now for Langdon. 81 Jamestown, and look at the heat on out in the west with 90s there. Average highs are in the low 60s this time of year. The gustiest winds right here in the James River Valley, Cheyenne River Valley, still gusts to around 30 to 35 miles per hour in and around Grand Forks as we head into the evening. So plan for the wind to stay around, just not quite as gusty as we get past sunset. It will be breezy all night long, and the breezy conditions will keep temperatures all night much milder than we've started out the last couple of days with. Now, coming up, we have big time changes. Mike, I'll detail all of that as we close out our work week coming up here in a moment.
All right, we'll wait for that. Thanks, Hutch. A little girl continues to fight for her life after a semi-truck ran her over while she was riding on her bike yesterday. The girl's family has identified her as 10-year-old Kaylee Acevedo. The crash happened near North Broadway and 2nd Street, which is part of Highway 2 through Crookston. Police say it appears the girl was hit by the back wheels of the semi as the driver was making a right turn, and her bike got tangled up in the wheels. Minnesota State Patrol says the driver was a 73-year-old man from Monoman. Kaylee remains in the ICU in Fargo. Her mom tells us that the 10-year-old had to have her right leg amputated, but says that doctors were able to save her left leg, which suffered a broken femur. Now this morning she was able to open her eyes, smile a little, and squeezed her mother's hand. An accused murderer is out on the streets after bailing out of jail. Idris Haji Mohammed is charged with second-degree murder with intent for the September 10th shooting death of Abdi Abdi. Court documents show that he obtained a $1 million bond from Midwest Bonding LLC and was released from the Clay County Jail. Haji Mohammed was arrested 3 days after the shooting. Authorities say he chased the victim through a parking lot, shooting at him more than 10 times. Authorities are still looking for a woman who was reported missing 7 years ago. Melissa Eagleshield was last seen leaving a friend's home in Becker County on October 5th, 2014. Eagleshield is about 5'1", 155 pounds with brown hair and hazel eyes. If you have any information on her, call the number on your screen. It's 218-847-2661. A request for George Floyd to be granted a posthumous pardon for a 2004 drug arrest in Texas has been granted. He was arrested by a now indicted ex-Houston police officer whose case history is under scrutiny following a deadly drug raid. Texas Governor Greg Abbott will make the final decision on the granting of that pardon. Explosive testimony from a Facebook whistleblower today on Capitol Hill. It came after a major outage yesterday that affected Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, and Messenger. A former manager at Facebook told a Senate committee that the company continues to hide internal research and data from users and the government. Jay Gray reports from Washington.
Behind the pictures and posts, there is, according to an insider, a calculated and very real risk.
I believe Facebook's products harm children, stoke division, and weaken our democracy.
Frances Haugen, a former project manager at Facebook, which owns Instagram and other platforms, now a whistleblower.
Facebook has repeatedly misled the public about what its own research reveals about the safety of children.
Sharing some of that internal research and data with Congress, Haugen accusing the internet giant of allowing, at times even amplifying, misinformation, hate speech, violence, and graphic content, targeting underage users, and using harmful and addictive algorithms.
We spend more time on their platform, they make more money.
The company arguing it's not profits but privacy laws that prevent sharing certain information, and stressing they are working to make their platforms more transparent.
We are going to launch supervisory tools for parents so that they can see and have greater visibility into what their kids are doing.
Senator Ed Markey says that's not enough, delivering this direct message to Facebook co-founder Mark Zuckerberg.
Your time of invading our privacy, promoting toxic content, and preying on children and teens is over.
Several lawmakers now working on internet safety legislation, with providers, they say, unable and unwilling to regulate themselves.
And Facebook says a fault configuration change is what caused yesterday's outage. The U.S. has resumed flights for Afghan refugees. The Department of Homeland Security says that planes are once again taking off from military bases in Germany and Qatar. Flights were paused last month after 4 cases of measles were discovered among Afghans. When evacuees arrive in the United States, they are vaccinated for measles, mumps, rubella, and chickenpox. More than 49,000 Afghan evacuees have now been vaccinated. They also get tested for coronavirus and are offered COVID-19 vaccines. North Dakota is going to be sending 125 National Guardsmen to the southern border to help with the humanitarian crisis there. The governor's office says the Bismarck-based troops will take off on Friday. The deployment is expected to last around a year, and Governor Doug Burgum says he plans to visit the soldiers at the border. The sugar beet harvest is underway and drivers should be extra cautious on roads right now. Authorities say because of the size of the beet trucks and semis, they will always cause serious damage to your vehicle. And don't drive too close, just in case sugar beets fly off the trucks and hit your vehicle. And be ready for all weather conditions because slippery roads could be dangerous for all drivers.
Pay extra attention to those trucks because sometimes the lights on the trucks, they get dirty from driving around in the fields and things like that. You may not see the brake lights that well. You may not see the turn signals that well.
The sheriff also says that distracted driving continues to be a huge issue on the road, so put that phone away. Later on Valley News Live at 5, ways you can save some money every time you go to the grocery store.
Been a toasty and breezy Tuesday. We started out with temperatures coolest in central Minnesota. Here's a look at that sunrise this morning, and we still have a lot of sunshine out there, but big time changes to close out your work week. I'll tell you about a great chance of rain and when some big changes are heading our way next.